Hello, my name is Madalena. Today I'm going to share my ongoing research and performance attempts in reimagining classical music in community setting. More specifically, I'm going to explore the idea of classical music as local and the excitement and struggle of this approach. Is classical music in a non-Western place meant to be disconnected and non-communal? An early attempt of bridging the professional musical performances and local audience could be seen in Hong Kong Sinfonietta in collaboration with magtang, a local cartoon character. Besides being an ambassador in family-friendly concerts, magtang also used substantial classical music materials in its movie production by using familiar classical tunes as melody for the Cantonese nursery tune sung by magtang and his friends and family in the story. Recently, more and more music organizations realize the value of community outreach as strategy for audience building and education. These attempts are represented by Music Lab, Hall Music Foundation, and in the slide, Music Children Foundation. Yet, the question remains unanswered is, what is the relation between classical music and Hong Kong's community? In many cases, Hong Kong communities seldom question the existence of classical music from the European tradition. It is perceived as formal, appropriate, educational, civilized, and a type of cultural exposure that people encourage and look up to. In Hong Kong context, classical, 古典, is the opposite of traditional, 傳統, while classical music is a product of colonial encounters, or as some informants refer to as the West, traditional music culture refers to Chinese heritage. While such phenomenon could easily be explained by Hong Kong's colonial past, since the institution nowadays still ritualize both musical culture, community music practitioners have the obligation to explore the social context of Western classical music in Hong Kong because these musical memories and cultural relevance are important information yet missing links when we contextualize the social history of classical music in Hong Kong for our performances. With these questions in mind, I initiate a performance program that helped me explore the historical nuances, context, and thus help my study in positioning classical music in Hong Kong's community. This project is called Empire Theatre and I, a musical monologue. As a researcher practitioner, I always look for ways to deliver research knowledge into easily accessible materials. In collaboration with local artists and researchers, we create a program that is historically informed, based on archival research by my colleague and artistic imagination. We explore the story of Empire Theatre in North Point, a neighborhood in Hong Kong, as an early cultural hub when music performances venues are limited in post-war Hong Kong. Empire Theatre is now an abolished building. When I do site visit last year, it was dark, smelly, with mold and the smell of dusk inside. While performing in this abolished building is impossible, very lucky we come across with a local organization working on a North Point community mapping project. We get along very quickly, and our program became the opening performance of the exhibition. During this project in 2018, the future of Empire Theatre is unknown. The latest development of the building is that it's sold to a local estate developer, and part of the architecture may be preserved, yet all of these plans of preservation is still unknown and to be confirmed. Yet, the story of Empire Theatre is not just about the architecture. It is the story of how Expatriates in Hong Kong see Hong Kong as home and contribute to post-war reconstruction through musical performances. What's special about our performances is that we insist to find a non-Chinese community member to play the owner of Empire Theatre, Mr. Harry Odell. And through acting, it's something almost like a living history performance. The actor tells the history of Mr. Odell as an art patron who invite renowned artists from around the world to perform in Hong Kong, which at that time was not the prime location for international tours. This venue also provides a stage for local performers to gain reputation and public performance experience. From the archive, we know that facilities were limited inside the theatre. It wasn't an ideal performance venue for professional artists. Yet the performance entertained expats and local elite at a time when everyone was recovering from World War trauma. This performance program is only a fraction of how classical music slowly emerged from its status as a colonial art to local cultural experience. By local, I do not limit it to the grassroots Chinese. There is a group of local non-Chinese community members who see Hong Kong as home and contribute to the city's development, like Mr. Odell, who now long rests in Hong Kong's Jewish cemetery. Besides creating community through music making, or reimagining and empowering human potential for identity construction through music, I ask if music is itself an agent that allows us to remember our past as a form of memory storage or even resistance to meta-narrative of the history that the institution and authority want us to remember. While I'm well aware of a single project wouldn't completely change the paradigm of reception of classical music in Hong Kong, I propose a way to curate classical program as a community music event that connects its audience, not only for the marginalized group, but also the general public who do not naturally fall into the regular community music audiences. I'm simply raising a question. When we play these tunes, what are the memory and connotation that gives meaning to our performances and our audience? When we pinpoint community in a classical music event, who are they? And what does it say about the essence of reimagined classical music in community as we imagine the potential of our community? Thank you.